WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
This is
Soulful Inspiration.
It's your girl, Nikki Jones. This will be an hour to feed your soul with music and laughter, information and inspiration. You're listening to WVTC
Detroit.
All designed with you in mind. So sit back, relax, and get ready to join the conversation with me,
Nikki Jones.
Soulful.
Soulful Inspiration.
Inspirations. Yes, sir. Welcome to Soulful Inspirations. I am your girl, Nikki Jones. So glad to be here in Jesus' name. Yes, I'm just excited to be here tonight. It's a beautiful Tuesday. It's been a wonderful day. It's been a kind of long day for me, but it's been very good, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in right now. You are listening to us on WVTC Detroit, where we are winning victory through Christ. And we are your two-time Stellar Award-winning Internet Station of the Year. We are so grateful. Hallelujah. Thank you. Yes, we are so grateful for your votes and for all of the votes that came in to bring us to this point. We're just excited about it, and we want to keep on giving you good content, inspiration, the Word of God, and community news and everything else that comes on this station. We want to continue to bring it to you. So please like, share, and subscribe. Did you hear me? Like, share, and subscribe. Now, listen, we usually have My Sister, Your Sister live podcast on the third Tuesday of the month, but we had some changes in the scheduling system, and so we bring in you the My Sister, Your Sister live podcast tonight. Say what? Yes, tonight. Yes, tonight. And so let me introduce to you and present to others the person on my right and your left, the beautiful, the talented, the corporate, yes, the community development personage of Sister Tamara Hardy.
Yes. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, honey.
How you doing? It has been a long day.
It's been a long day, but it's been a beautiful day, though.
It has been, and I'm so glad I landed here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm glad I landed here.
I'm glad you did, too. Yeah. I want you to bring that microphone a little bit closer to you, though.
Just a little closer to me. There we go.
Closer.
Is that better?
You good. That's better.
Okay,
mm-hmm. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. How you doing?
I'm excited. You know, a lot of things are going on. The summer's winding down, and I have enjoyed I've enjoyed it. It's been too short, too rainy.
It does.
But everything is lush and green.
It is, yes.
And so I love seeing all the greenery and the trees and no dry
We just don't want no more power outages.
Yeah, no more flooding.
No more flooding, no more power outages.
But it is beautiful, and now we're going into the fall. And I love, a lot of you like the fall. I love the summer.
I like the fall.
It hot.
I like the fall and the summer. I like the summer going
nice
into the fall. Yeah.
I like it nice and warm. I like to be able to get up and go outside in my flip-flops. You know?
Yes.
So, but you know, I'm enjoying life, and
I know you do, because you stay out of town. Listen, we have one more person who is going to take over for us in terms of driving the conversation. And we've been missing her as well. The beautiful, the very, very capable, and the financially savvy, Michelle Johnson. Yes, come on in, girl.
Hey now, hey.
Yes. How you doing? Been missing you, girl. What's going on?
I miss y'all too. You know, out here trying to make the donuts, you know, trying to stay financially stable.
And she makes good donuts.
Okay. Yes. Well, yes. Let's make them donuts and keep them coming. Mm-hmm. And bring me some next time, okay? Yeah.
Got you. Well, you gave me the winning lottery number, so. So for y'all who don't know, I asked Nikki to send me the link so I can join y'all tonight, and she sent it to me so quick. And I said, "Well, since you're hot, can you send me the lottery numbers?" And she did. So when I play and I hit with those numbers,
I can't.
You know what I'm saying?
I just told our station owner last week, I'm not giving nobody no numbers to be playing on here. There ain't nobody gonna be blaming me.
On him, Michelle.
Oh, Lord, you done told on me.
You should have gave me the look, girl. You should went.
Lower your 10% and give me the other 40. Amen. All right.
I got you.
So yeah, we got a conversation going on tonight for my sister, your sister, and I did a post a couple of weeks, about 2 weeks ago, and it was talking about what our mothers never taught us. Yes. So Miss Michelle, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an interesting conversation because we've been having our sidebar conversations about this very topic, like things my mother just didn't share with us. And it's across the spectrum and in many, many ranges of things that our mother just, I don't know if they forgot. It was omitted in the hood mama book. I don't know. But we're here today to really get into it and to talk about those things that our mothers didn't taught us. And, on a serious note, Tamara and I, we were talking earlier, and there are many reasons why mothers, even fathers, I don't want to leave the brothers out. It's things y'all ain't told us too, but we sticking with the mothers tonight.
Right.
But things that our mother didn't share with us. And, partly it's because, mothers are busy. They're juggling many things. They're being overly protective of what their children hear and what they see.
Yes.
And they want to curate this experience, right? Because in many cases, mothers have experienced things in their own childhood that they are trying to, not repeat, or, they don't want to make the same mistake. So they don't want to pass down anything to their children that would be similar to what they experienced in their own childhood. So there's many reasons. So no shade to the mamas. Mamas did what they had to do.
That's right.
To keep their households afloat. So I just want to say that for the people in the back of the church.
Come on.
And the radio station.
And
mamas are busy. Their hands are full. They got tons of things to do. I mean, they're thinking while they're sleeping. They thinking while they're in the shower. They thinking while they're taking their children to the school. They thinking and doing while they're going to the grocery store. They thinking and doing when they trying to do some exercise. They thinking and doing a lot.
Yes.
But, I think as I was talking to Tamara earlier today, while there is this protective and vibe, but I think the thing that's missing is that in that protection, I think unbeknownst to them, there was this loss of empowerment because of the lack of information. So when you don't have the information, sometimes you can wind up repeating history because nobody told you not to, did nobody tell you nothing? Nobody didn't share anything to you, or share anything with you. So I think there is something to be said about empowering your children, telling them the things that you have gone through. You don't have to be like real granular, like, you remember back in the day, I don't know if y'all experienced this. I experienced this a little bit. Like when my mom would date, I would refer to the guy as Uncle So-and-so. So weird. Right.
Okay.
So
my mom didn't date. So not that I could tell from when I was a child. Nah, I mean,
your mama didn't tell you probably. But
she had some friends. Nah, she had some friends. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so friends.
She had some friends. One in particular that she was cleaning his house. And he would pay her to do his taxes and stuff like that, right? So from what I could tell, they weren't dating because it seemed like I was on every date if they were dating, and then I was with them. You know what I'm saying? So, which might have been her strategy. You understand what I'm saying? That might have been her strategy because I was with her when she would go on these, not dates. You know what I'm saying? We would go get some Chinese food, and then we would go get some ice cream from Baskin Robbins, and that was the thing. You understand what I'm saying? And I was cool with that.
You was cool with that. So I mean,
cool with that.
But what's interesting is that the Uncle so-and-so in the protection of the Uncle so-and-so in the case was like my mother never shared like why they disappeared. Right. And so growing up, I just thought sometimes men just disappeared. That's not good, in later years.
How did that impact you?
How did that affect me?
Yeah.
It made me internalize that men are dependable. It made me internalize that you can't count on a man because he may disappear. I internalized that there's really no real stability, safety, protection. So it had a profound effect on me because I don't think my mother or any other any other woman of significance in my life ever shared like those kinds of things, like why people split apart. What is it about relationships, men and women? Should I know and should not know? Teach me how to even be affectionate towards a man. Like those were things that, I didn't necessarily draw upon anything from my mother in terms of a conversation. I had to learn those things just by feeling and going through some things. And it wasn't until I got older and me and my mother became like more like we definitely ain't friends because she will check a sister. But when she realized I was definitely an adult and paying my own taxes, that our conversations pivot a little bit. They still didn't go all the way, but they pivot to the point where she was able to share some other things that made me go, oh, so that's why you did that, or that's why you said that, But I'm grown, paying taxes, got a financial planner, so like the stuff just didn't happen timely. But so I told the uncle story. What about you ladies? What's that thing that your mothers just didn't tell you or share with you? That one thing that you constantly go back to in your mind and you'd be like, man, I wish my mama would have said or would have shared.
Well, like I said, I was on the dates with my mama, and I didn't even really know that those were actually dates. I don't even know if she would admit it right now, because because I was with her. You know what I'm saying? We was going to Chinese food together. We was going to get the Baskin Robbins. So she never really taught me how to date, because I didn't have any kids when I started dating. So it wasn't like I knew that's what that was. You know what I'm saying? So she never taught me how to date, because she didn't want me to date, because she didn't want me to meet no boy, because she didn't want me to get pregnant. And that's
that part, Nikki. That's around the way.
She was trying her best to make sure that I never became a teenage mother. Now she succeeded, you know what I'm saying, in that regard. But in terms of me having any kind of interaction with the opposite sex, I didn't know anything about how to talk to a guy, how to do it. Even as I got older, I still couldn't have a boyfriend. I did not go to the prom. So
what?
No, I did not go to the prom. Really? She said you can go to the prom with your cousin, or you can have a barbecue graduation party. Not the food. My mama kept me around food.
That's not the ultimatum.
You understand what I'm saying?
That is real. Or you could go out.
So I ended up having the barbecue because I was like, at least I'll get some presents. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about the food and presents.
Yeah, because my birthday and graduation is all in June. You know what I'm saying? So when I graduated high school, all that was running together. So I was like, you know what? I can't go to I'm not going to the prom with my cousin. And so, plus he already had a girlfriend at my school. So it was like, why would I do that? And people kind of know him at my school anyway. So yeah, she never taught me how to date, never taught me how to talk to guys. And I know she's watching and listening. So yeah, Ma, you know I'm telling the truth, right?
Come on, Mom, put it out there. I just want to know.
But she didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I never saw her. I never saw her date.
Was that because you guys were so engraced in church, or is that because
absolutely
it had something to do with your spirituality?
Absolutely, once my mama. Now let me tell you, once my mama got saved, she was saved for real. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm talking no makeup. I'm talking no pants. My mama did not put on a pair of pants until she turned 50. I never saw her in pants until she turned 50 years old, which means I was 30. I was either 29 or 30 at the time when the first time I saw my mother in a pair of jeans. And so Yes, I'm so serious. Denim skirts, yes. But so I never saw her date until she was in her 50s, and that's when that's when I saw her actually dating a guy, and I ain't like him. So, sorry, God rest his soul. He's passed away now. But anyway.
Double whammy. Didn't like him and he did.
I was courting her. It just didn't, it didn't add up. It was so many things that just didn't add up for me. But anyway, I digress. That is mine. Yes, Tamara.
Well, as I was thinking about this, and I said, that's why I said I really want to have this conversation, because for me, the first thing I think about is menopause, because I'm going through
Girl.
it. And so I'm like, why didn't she tell me I was going to have these hot flashes that was going to take me out?
Girl.
Why didn't she tell me that my hair was going to get thinner? I'm like, Lord, bring it back, So many changes to my body.
You made me look at your hair in that moment. I was like,
yes. And so many changes, like the weight gain that it's taken me 2 years to try to lose 15 pounds, and I still haven't lost it. It's just, so I want to say this. The one thing I love about sisters is that we're very transparent.
Absolutely.
And we are very raw sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I'm about to be raw. So if you have any young girls or little boys out there that you don't want them to hear this, cover their ears, send them to the other room like our parents did when we were little, talking about get out.
That's one thing they did tell us. Where to go.
Yeah. And so she never, and I put this on Facebook, is that she never told me that what was moist would be dry.
Oh my God.
What was once moist would be dry. And what I mean by that is that, your body goes through so many changes. And I will happily say that me and my husband have always enjoyed a wonderful love life.
Yes.
But, we have to change some things up, because all things, your body changes. And I'm sitting up here trying to figure out, what do I do about this? Because I'm not going to stop and he's not going to stop. We have to figure it out. And so I'm like, why didn't my mother tell me that menopause was about, all I heard was you go through the change of life.
2 letters. K-Y.
There's some other things out there that are better, though.
This sure is. Natural kitty.
Yeah, come on, Michelle.
What you say now?
Natural kitty.
Natural kitty, honey.
Okay.
Natural kitty.
There are some better things out there. But
it's all natural. It's all natural.
But what's interesting is that as a woman, we have these different transitions through our life. And men have them, but I don't know if they're as harsh. I think they're harsh for a little bit more harsh.
Oh, they got some stuff that's harsh.
Yeah, they do
talk about it.
I think theirs is
mental
than it is physical, and ours is a combination of both.
Exactly. And so it's like I'm having all these emotions and changes in my body. And, Michelle, you talked about how we are always busy. And do I have the same level of energy?
No.
And things of that nature. And, I'm guilty of protecting my children. And so I didn't pass on the learning and the legacy and things of that nature. So I'm thinking of all the things I should have done that I wanted to do. And maybe I missed some stuff. But for me, it all came back because of menopause. And I'm like, okay, I'll be 60.
Now, see, my mom, she's never had a hot flash, never had a night.
That's what I'm claiming. I ain't never had one. Hallelujah. All praise to
she went through the change. She went through it, seamlessly. Like, I remember her talking about, not having a period anymore, but that was it. Like, she never had what I'm dealing with.
That's all. I thought you finally, period, stop. That's it. And be like, hallelujah.
No,
that's not it.
I'm behind that.
Hot flash right now.
But you know what you guys are pointing out, though? I think it's an important thing to remember. And in both of your cases, because both of you have children, is that while you're still roaming this earth, there's still time to have those conversations.
Yes.
And I think it's important to remember, and I was sharing this with Tamara earlier, is that I think sometimes as mothers, and I'm not a mother, I'm a super auntie. I mean, I'm not a mom, I'm way cooler, because I don't have to have all those different responsibilities, right? Like I have different sets of responsibilities as an auntie. But I had shared that I think sometimes as parents, you don't see your kid as a growing adult. So I think, you try to protect and hold them in this bubble. And when they start growing, it's like you want to prevent everything. So you just bury after bury, We have to talk to them like they are going to be adults. So we need to have conversations. It's how you frame things, of course. You don't want to be
according to their level of,
of maturity and capability of understanding the complexities of certain things going on in life. But it shouldn't prevent you from just not saying nothing at all. And I think a lot of times we just never, I'm glad you used the word legacy, Tim. We need to pass on the legacy of conversation. We need to pass down the legacy of bonding through verbal communication. I think when you have great communication, it draws people closer to you. It builds more trust. You create this bridge of understanding that silence doesn't.
That's not right. And it keeps you from bonding. That
exactly.
I remember when Brittany came on the My Sister, Your Sister podcast some time ago, and she talked about how, as growing up, she'd never seen me struggle. Now, I was a single parent, so y'all knew I was struggling, but she never saw. So then when she had her children, she thought when she started struggling that something was wrong, that she wasn't doing it right.
Wow.
And there is no right way. There are strategies that you can implement, but as a single parent, you're going to have some challenges, right?
Absolutely.
But she never saw the challenges I had. And I didn't let her see them because I didn't want her to have those concerns.
Yes.
But now looking back, she needed to see them. I need to sit down with that sister and say, okay, here's our budget. This is what I have, and this is what comes in, and this is what goes out. And so if you want this, this, and this, we got to find somewhere in this budget so that she would learn how to budget better.
Yeah.
She would learn how to
appreciate money differently, right?
Money better. Right. Exactly. And then Micah, who is 12 years younger than Brittany, she came in and she thinking everything is wonderful, and she's the baby, so she thinks that everything comes to her. And so you have Brittany, that is the Gen Z, and you have Micah, that's the millennial. Brittany, she's 2 years old. She can go into the refrigerator, fix her own breakfast. Micah, she'll sit there and wait for somebody to do it for her. You
got all these generations.
But neither of them, I sat down and shared what it was like for me at that time to raise two young girls and not wanting them to see how challenging it was and some of the things I had to do to make ends meet. They saw me getting 2 jobs, but they didn't see how I had to pay my bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that we created the monsters that we have right now.
I don't know.
No,
but I do believe
I call them monsters
in terms of entitlement.
In terms of entitlement, yes. What we don't want to do.
No. And every mother knows what I mean when I say monster, because some of them do come with a sense of entitlement. Like, you owe this to me. And that's because in my mind, this is just for Tamara, so nobody else internalizes as if I'm talking about you. For me, if I had shared that with them, then maybe there wouldn't be this sense of entitlement that came with them as they grew up, feeling like they deserved everything. Even though Brittany will work her tail off, don't get me wrong, but there is a sense of entitlement there.
I hear you.
And I can appreciate that. And I think a bit of the entitlement sometimes comes with the package of trying to give the kids what you didn't have. And we just don't always understand sort of the balance of that. But I want to follow up with a comment, and hopefully you all can chime in. I also think that because you were a single mom, there was a lot of, compensating. And I think to your point is like, the thing that I wish my mother would have shared with me was all of the compensating she had to do to give us a good life. I did not realize, Tamara, to your point a little bit, I didn't know we were poor. I found out like in my early 20s and 30s that my mother was making like $30,000 a year raising 3 girls. I was like, I don't know how you did it. Like, you had a home, how do we have clothes? $30,000? First of all,
Paul had all the money. Peter ain't never had no money because he was always giving it to Paul. Peter broke to this day.
And he mad.
Okay. And he mad. Broke, busted, and disgusted.
Yeah. Broke, busted, and disgusted. Right now, if I had $30,000, I probably wouldn't have spectacles. I probably would be naked. $30,000. I said, how did you do with it? 3 other children nipping at your heels. I didn't.
Yeah. And some people are living off of $30,000 today.
That was do you know that is different from then, right? Yeah. That's $30,000.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I was that person. I remember that Brittany and Mike and I don't know how I bought my first home making $35,000 a year.
Exactly.
I have no idea, but in Battle Creek it was possible. And it was a nice house, right? Very nice house. But I remember making under $40,000 with 2 whole kids, a car note, and a house note. And I still don't know how I did it.
Well, you had 2 jobs.
I did work 2 jobs. That's true. And, I did give some child support. That did help as well. But still, it was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
We have some questions. We have some questions. I know I saw one from Larry. Okay, here's Larry's question. What was one of the most important things you think you missed that you learned later? Budgeting?
I would say budgeting and relationships. I mean, you're always evolving in relationships, but I learned later on to have a different appreciation for the opposite sex. But that came through conversation with other mentors in my life, and not necessarily my mom per se. But I think the important thing is how to be in relationship, not just with a man, but with anyone. Because my mother was she was so busy with life. If she had any issue, whether it was with a female friend or a male friend, she would just cut them off.
Oh, wow.
Because she didn't have the time to work it out.
Wow.
She's like, I got these children, I got these things going on. You bringing me drama, I'm cutting you. And I had to unlearn a lot of that stuff. How to not just cut people off and leave them, in the wake of things. Some folks are worth working through.
This is true. What I did learn from my mother, I know that's the opposite of what we're talking about, but what I did learn from her is service. So because we were in church all the time, I was always serving. I was serving as a nurse on a nurses guild. I was serving, the head table, with all the preachers when it came time for the church, for the dinner after service. I was serving in the kitchen. I was serving, I was serving on the usher board. I was serving in the choir. I was serving as a director. I was serving whatever capacity I was supposed to be serving. I was ironing handkerchiefs at night, on Saturday night for Sunday morning so that the preacher could have clean handkerchiefs. I was wearing all white. You know what I'm saying? I was junior missionary on the missionary board. So, I mean, one thing I know my mother taught me, other than Romans 6:23, because that was the scripture that she taught me. Romans 6:23, for the minimum wages of sin is death. Y'all supposed to laugh.
Praise God. I laughed.
So she did teach me that. So that translated to me in a good way, to me, being able to have a legacy of service, and she's still serving. So serving the Lord and serving in church and serving in a capacity where you show loyalty to those who are in leadership over you. That my mother taught me, honor and serving leadership.
But let's go back to the question though, Tam, before you answer. So what was the most important things that you think was missed that you
I said budgeting.
Oh, you said budgeting. Okay, I forgot about that.
And I agree with that. I think my mother didn't teach us how to budget either. As a matter of fact, we never talked about money.
No,
not like that.
Never.
I just couldn't have my mama money. I ain't got no money.
I heard her tell me no about money. Like, you know what? I ain't got no money for that. I heard her say that. You got some McDonald's money?
I heard her say, I'll think about it. No, you're not. You're not thinking about it. That means no. Right. But no, she never taught us about, Michelle, to your point, she never talked about relationships.
Yeah.
So I went into growing up not understanding how to date.
Yeah.
Right.
She taught us how to cook. We certainly knew how to clean, and I can iron the mess out
of iron the house down.
Let me tell you,
because I ironed so much,
and I can wash. I know how to separate everything, and I know how to wash everything.
That part too.
She never taught me about relationships.
Yeah,
and so I didn't know how to date. I didn't know what to expect.
I couldn't date, so there was nothing for her to tell me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So I wish I had learned how to budget, because I remember going to college, and of course they offer you all kind of credit cards, and I got them because I'm like, oh, I can get a credit card. Getting all excited. They didn't tell me I had to pay that sucker off.
Right.
I did the same
interest.
And so I got all these credit cards I had to end up paying off. Right. So I didn't understand the importance of having good credit.
And the student loans.
Student loans, girl.
Because they weren't just in her name, they were in my name.
Boom, that part. Because I probably still would be paying on that when I'm the head usher at 85 at the church. But you know, that's just the truth. I'm ashamed of the devil. That's the truth. They coming with me, y'all. They coming with me. So what is the most important thing? We were going back to the conversation about what you want to tell your kids. What do you want to tell your children today? What is the one thing you all want to share with your children now that could be a seed for the future? What you want to tell your children now?
I'll let you go first, Nikki.
I was reading the comment from Christina Wilson Kendrick. The church I grew up in taught me more of their church rules than what was actually in the Bible. That's good. That's good. We're gonna come back to that, Chris. Thank you for sharing that. So what I share right now, I share my faith. I share my faith in Christ. I share my relationship with God. I share the benefits of prayer. So they can understand that this is something that I do for you. I pray for you, but you need your own relationship, especially because my oldest son is 12 now. So for him to be 12 now, he's making more decisions for himself, on the spot that he will see results from, consequences, negative or positive, within, minutes or whatnot of his decision. So I share that with him, and that I want to make sure I do, plus a work ethic. And that part to me is also being taught to him on a consistent basis by myself and his father and his stepfather. Like, that work ethic is strong in our oldest son. So I'm excited about that. And for me, those 2 things, if you can keep that, he's 12, so he's starting to see girls in a different light right now. So I keep keep making sure he understand that, if you want this football career, you better keep it clean, bro. You keep that moral clause going.
Yeah, that's right. I would, mimic what you said. I think that I share my faith, the power of prayer. And to your point, I also share the work ethic. And I tell my daughters all the time, success boils down to 2 things: consistency and discipline. You have to be consistent in what you do, and you have to be disciplined to do it until you get to where you have to go, regardless of how tired you get.
Yeah.
Discipline will take you where where just dreaming cannot. You have to be disciplined. Yeah. And I also share something with Brittany and Micah, is that you can either learn from experience or you can learn from example. There are some things I don't have to experience.
Hello.
And there are some things I will have to experience, but I don't have to experience drugs to know they're bad for me.
Exactly.
I don't have to experience some things. I don't have to run in front of a car to know if I stand there, I'm going to get hit. And so some things we just need to take the examples of people who came before us and learn from it. There are best practices for a reason.
Yes.
And so why not learn from the best practices and take those and build upon them? Because that's where your success. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you couple that and lead with God. So those are the things that I share now with them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, I don't have any children. My eggs were clearly for entertainment purposes only. Maybe somebody will take them and study them. I don't know. But at my big old age, I don't want to be a Sarah. Okay,
Oh
just do not. I echo and amen and hallelujah all of what y'all said, but I also want to impart. And I heard this yesterday, and it just stuck with me today. And I said, "Oh, I got to put that in my book." Wisdom is good, it's great, it's wonderful, but I don't want you to lose imagination.
That's good.
And I think it's important to teach our kids that imagination is just not for kids. You still have to imagine a world that you want and use that wisdom to help you get there. And I appreciate the discipline and the consistency and the faith and the work ethic. All that plays in a role of that. Because even me as a kid, it was just like, this ain't no game. Life ain't a game. You ain't got time to be sitting here daydreaming. You got
games all day.
Right? And I think for me, in my own experience, I lost a little bit of that imagination because because it kind of got dimmed a little bit. And I, tell my nephews and my nieces, like, wisdom, have that in your back pocket. I love the consistency and discipline, but still have an imagination.
Yeah, I will say that as the older I've become, the less creative I feel like I am. I don't have time to be creative like that, and so it's hard for me to think creatively. Whereas, Micah, she's all about creativity. It's all about her hands. It's all about putting something together and making nothing. And I'm like, just give me the stuff so I can put it together. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to create.
You just want to add water.
Right? Put a little bit of weeds out. But no, I think that as you get older, your creativity, unless you're working in a field where you have to be creative,
right?
You get so busy with doing life.
That's it. It's time.
Being that you don't take that time out to be creative. And so I would love for the creative part of me to come back and blossom because I think that I'm a very creative person when I'm given the opportunity, but I don't think I'm as creative as I was when I was younger.
And it's so funny too, because I think, one thing that my mother didn't share enough of was just the concept of time and how to harness that time in a way that is, producing for you. Because my mother used to talk in sound bites. She never really spent a whole lot of time like giving me like the film documentary version of anything. It was always do, go, be, stop, lay,
verbs.
Hey. And I was like, what? So you're operating in life in these sound bites. And so and I get it. It's brevity, it's time. It's like she ain't had time. She got like 40 other things that she has prioritized. And me talking about, Mom, can you explain to me where eggs live in our body? Like, she like, girl, don't talk about that. And then
because now we entertain more questions from children than we had. We didn't have those opportunities to ask a lot of questions. For most parents, like you're saying, they were about making that money, making sure we had some bills paid, making sure we had food on the table, making sure we had clothes on our back, and all of the necessities of life. So it was just do as I say. And whatever.
And not as I do.
And not as I do, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So we couldn't ask a lot of questions. It's like, what? Are you questioning me? I know you just didn't ask. And you couldn't say what. First of all, you couldn't say
that. Say that. You better not say what. What?
Or you telling a lie, girl.
You couldn't say lie. You couldn't say what. You know what I'm saying? You dare not call them by their first name. Never. That's death incarnate. You know what I'm saying? So, but now, like, I find myself entertaining questions more often than not. You know what I'm saying? Because I want him to understand the whys. I want him to understand, and I want him to be able to think for himself. If you're thinking about it, then you're asking these questions. And so I want to not break his spirit, number one, because I keep saying his because I got 3 boys. I don't want to break his spirit, and I don't want them to think that they cannot question anything,
Right.
because that's how we learn. We learn by questioning things. We learn by, being unafraid to ask the question. And so I think that's important.
And I think that's what my generation is missing, is questioning things.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't question anything.
Exactly.
We couldn't say that's not right, because we couldn't say tell me why.
Right. No, we gotta stay out of grown folks' business.
Stay out of business.
Stay in the child's
why
place.
you asking me why? Because I told you so.
That was it. That was the why.
That was the why. Because I told you so.
Because I said so.
So we missed a lot of stuff because I told you so.
And we made this, and some of us made the same mistakes, right? Like, because nobody.
Honestly, say I did the exact
and it came.
Same thing.
I believe that response was either the response that they received because they had the same, they had the same thoughts, and they might have had, the same inclination to ask the question. But if they did, they probably got the same response. So they responded the same way to us. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so if it wasn't that, then it was just the fact of, they didn't want to take that conversation where it really needed to go.
Or they probably just didn't know the answer.
Or that too.
Or that too.
Yes, or that too. Or they didn't want to talk about sex. They didn't want to talk about relationships. They didn't want to admit to themselves that you're thinking about sex, or you're thinking about the opposite sex, or you're thinking about having a boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to have those questions.
I remember when I got pregnant with Brittany, my mother said to me, "I'm surprised you're pregnant because you don't seem like the type that want to be bothered with kids." And that was it. There was nothing else. She didn't say, she didn't say she was upset that I got pregnant, my second or third year in college. None of that. She was like, "I'm just surprised because you don't even like kids." And I thought, well, dang.
I remember my first year in college, my mom came up to visit me, and we were in Meijer in the I think it was the meat section of Meijer. I don't know. It was like the cold section, somewhere in the cold section, either the cheese or eggs or something like that. And because I had been up there for a little while, I had got a little stomach, and I'd never really had a stomach before. So my mom was like, "Are you pregnant?" Now, mind you, I had not had sex yet when she asked me this, but I was just like, "Well, dang, Mom, I just got a little stomach." But she was like, "Are you pregnant? Are you having sex?"
Jordan never said anything like that to me.
Right. It was strange for me because we had never really talked about sex. Now, my grandmother told me before I went to college, she was like, "Look, let me tell you something like this. You gonna be tempted because you're gonna be away. This is your first time being away from your house, from your mama for this, and you ain't gonna have nobody to tell you that you can't do it. So go on ahead and get you some birth control." And I was like, "Grandma, I don't want to be on birth control." You know what I'm saying? That might give me, that might make me feel more easy about saying yes to sex, right? But my grandma said, "I don't care what your mama say. I don't care what your auntie say, what your daddy say, what your granddaddy say. Go get you some birth control. Don't be coming back here pregnant talking about you didn't know what you were supposed to do." And I was like, "Okay."
Wisdom.
I was about to say, there is wisdom.
Yeah.
What about if mama didn't get anything from Big Mama? That could have been an issue too. I mean, we covered that. Like, that is true. It's generational, right?
Yeah, generational.
And their grandmother, my mother came out of slavery. So I know.
And I never knew my grandmothers because my mother's mother died when I was, I think, 3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
And on my father's side, I don't have any memory of her because she died very young as well. My grandfather ended up remarrying, and we would go visit them in Detroit because my mother and father, we were from Detroit. I was in Detroit until I turned like 3 or 4. And then my mother divorced my father and everything. We left Detroit. But I don't have any real memories of my grandparents.
Oh, wow.
And so my mother's mother, she only got what she got, right? My mother's mother got in her 20s.
Now, my grandmother was a pistol, honey. She used to tell me the game. She used to tell me stories like about her past until I was grown. So she would, she told me about the time, she caught my granddaddy cheating, and she, found his car.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Give me with the real.
Brick. She was pregnant. She was 8 months pregnant. Took a brick and bust out the windows.
I like that kind of grandma right there.
And a deuce in the quarter. You know what I'm saying? And then she slept with a knife under her pillow. You know what I'm saying? In case he came back home and he was going to try to do something. So those are the kind of stories I got from my grandmother.
She did a drive-by.
Oh, my grandma did a walk-by, honey.
A walk-by.
Not the walk-by.
She walked to where the car was. She bust the windows out, and then she was walking back home. And when
bust the windows out your car.
Oh, that was way before Jasmine Sullivan. And then the police followed her and tried to get her to get in the car because they saw what she did. She said, "That's my husband's car, and that's not my house." So the cops,
I like her grandma.
Yeah, the cops, they tried to take her home. She's like, "Nope, I'm walking," because she was 8 months pregnant. She's like, "No, I want to walk."
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you got your grandmoms just like, you know what? Time is limited. I'm going to give you the real.
Yes.
And I can appreciate those grandmothers. I mean, I had an aunt who probably kept it all too real. I was like, is that what that's about? No wonder my mother's not talking about it. You know what I mean?
To them.
But I think, whether, it's not your mother telling you, hopefully whoever's listening out there will have some female mentor, someone that they admire and inspired by, will share like the truth with them, whether it's money, whether it's about relationship, whether it's about sex, most importantly about Jesus is the reason I want to get in the choir. So that was like a freebie audition. It wasn't my best, but that was important.
Thank you very kindly. And
yeah, moving on. Okay, so I think it's important to have someone that is of same gender. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna speak truth. Same gender who can speak from experience from that lens. I think it's very important.
It's very important.
There's nothing new under the sun. It might be a different year. It might be a different season. But most of this stuff is stuff that we have experienced over generations. So it's worth talking to your kids. Don't be fearful that they're going to go out here and do something reckless. Like, you raising them. So if you think they're going out there doing something reckless, you might want to look at yourself.
Hello.
I appreciate those parents right now who sit down with their kids and say, let's talk about this.
Yes.
And take interest. I think it's Paul who said, just to see a parent show interest in what was on a teenage mind is so valuable. And
it's so valuable.
Yes. It's so valuable. And to Michelle's point, we get so busy mothers doing blah, 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 that sometimes we get so busy being a mother, we forget to be a mother.
Right.
We forget to show mother. We forget to spend time with our kids and say, let's just talk. Nothing that you say is going to piss me off. Now, it may surprise me, but it doesn't mean that it surprises me to the degree I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
And give them permission.
Safety.
Yeah.
Give them
safety. Psychological safety. Psychological safety.
And if they do say something that like makes your hair fall back, you take a deep breath and you say, okay, that's surprising, but tell me what you learned, or how can I help you through this moment?
Right.
Or it's nothing wrong with just saying, you know what, let's put a pin. Let's talk about that
in the parking lot, because I don't know what to do with it.
You might need to do some thinking.
Right.
Got that right.
Right.
But I don't think that, I think that I appreciate parents who are doing that and taking the time to be a parent, not a friend, because I think that sometimes you can be too much of a friend and then your kids start to disrespect who you are.
Right.
But be a parent. You can be a parent and still honor your children's opinions and respect their opinions, but then say at the end of the day, I'm still mama.
Absolutely. And shout out to all the aunties, the super aunts, the super uncles, the uncles who took their nieces and nephews in, the aunt who, picked up the ball, or who had those difficult conversations when the parents could not, for whatever reason. Like, maybe they just couldn't, maybe they had a hard time coming to grips, because of my size, I've been little, most of my life. I'm not that little right now, but for most of my life, I've always been, one of the shortest, one of the smallest kids in the class. So I think my mother had this image in her mind, like, I'm gonna keep her.
That's right.
Little girl forever, for as long as I can. And even though I was getting older, I wasn't necessarily getting that much bigger. So if it wasn't for some of my aunts and uncles, just, exposing me to, specific conversations about drugs, specific conversations about, about boys or whatnot, just on the surface level even. And it was enough for me to understand, that I don't have to go, like you were saying, I can learn by example and not by experience. So a lot of things I conversations I had with my aunts and uncles, it was basically over music, for the most part. But I learned a lot of things from my aunts and uncles, and even my godparents. That I did not learn from my mom, because I really do believe that she wanted to make sure I would stay the little girl for as long as humanly possible. And then when I started to get older, she would try to have those harder conversations with me, and it was awkward for a little while. But now we're much older now, but it got a groove going after a while, but it took some time. I had to be grown to have those conversations. Yeah. So especially going to college and coming back, and I was like, wait a minute, I done been to college, and you're talking about coming in at 11 o'clock. What?
And
she was like, so you can't live here if you can't come by. You can't come in when I say come in. And I'm like, I'm grown. I was kind of grown in, like, I'm grown. So then I had to go live with my grandmother.
One of the things I'm doing right now, I'm being very intentional about teaching my grandkids how to budget. And how to save.
That's good.
Now, learn how to save right now. So they send me their money and I put it into an account.
Oh, wow.
And when they call me, say, Grant, I need money, they borrow it from me. I don't take it out of their savings account. They have to borrow it from me, and then they have to pay me back.
Ooh.
Because I want them to learn how to
budget. Are you charging interest? Because that ain't real world. You don't always get 0%.
I'm not charging any interest. They pay me
back.
Girl,
you better charge some interest, honey. You better charge 14%, 14.99.
Right now they ain't making a whole lot of money, but at the same time, 2%. It's teaching them how to save. Because my mother, I never had a savings account.
Yeah. Right.
Ever growing up.
I used to get savings bonds. Now I don't know what happened to them.
Savings.
Remember the savings bonds back in the day? I don't know what happened to them.
Girl, you just made me think about this Christmas Story. Like back
and one of the things I did with Micah is that I established her credit early. So when she was in high school, I got her an American Express card. I got her Hyatt. And I got her Marriott cards. She never took possession of them. But by the time she was ready to go to college, she had 800 credit score.
Wow.
Because I got the credit cards in her name, established them, used them, paid them off on time. So now she has excellent credit because I established her credit for her.
Wow.
So those are the things that you can do. Those are some things you can do now.
I never thought about that. Now my son is already Ian is already saving his money. He done bought him a pair of shoes. He done bought him some clothes. He has saved up to get his own little Xbox because we weren't gonna buy no Xbox. So he saved up his money. He cut grass. He worked. He did extra chores. He did all kinds of stuff. So those are the kinds of things now. So we're happy about that. I'm gonna keep it at that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna establish no. I'm gonna put my bill in his name.
Early. You want to wait till
we get the water bill in his name.
Or the light bill. But I think it's to you all's point though, right? Like there's discipline and consistency that are happening in both examples.
Yes.
With my nephew, Ethan, I give him money for a birthday. I don't buy him toys and stuff like that because I feel like that's sort of useless to me. Like you're going to break them and tear them up. But I'm teaching him the value of money. And to y'all point, you save, and then the thing you really want, you can buy. I mean, of course, I would still feel like I'm buying it because I gave you the money because you ain't out here sweeping no floors or doing anything at 9. We ain't in Taiwan. So, you ain't got to go out here and get a full-time job.
Child labor laws.
We got the child labor laws.
Exactly.
But I think it's important to teach children and talk about money. Talk about it. Like it's no secret. Like this is the currency and you got to be real careful with it.
Exactly.
Also teaching them about generational wealth. And I think we're in the groove since we're establishing credit and teaching them how to save. I want to borrow some funny money from you because you ain't charging no percentages. So I need to borrow some money, Tamara. We'll talk off camera.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But I think it's important.
Generational wealth.
About legacy, my mother, the one thing she did do is so many of us, right? There were traditions we had around the holidays. We always went out, we always got a real tree, and so now my kids, they get real trees. We always cooked and would sing songs around the Christmas tree, do Charlie Brown type stuff. Aww. But we did that kind of stuff, and now they're doing those things as well. I taught them about, let's go on vacations. let's enjoy it, because we never go. I can never remember my mother
never went on a vacation as a kid.
We got out of Battle Creek was Albion,
right?
Wow.
You know, and so we never did family vacations. So now they are enjoying the fact that we go places and do things together. Yeah. So we're changing the narrative here.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the things that wasn't done for me, so that they will have a healthy relationships moving forward.
This has been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
It's a good conversation.
Yeah,
and we didn't even touch a lot of the stuff, you know, but.
No, I was going to talk about some of the things that was on the Facebook post, but we kind of touched on a lot of them. You know, some people said budgeting. Some people said they weren't taught how to drive. Some people said they weren't taught how to shave. You know, mama didn't teach them how to shave the legs. I ain't never shaved my legs.
I didn't know that black girls shaved until I got in college.
Until right.
Never shaved my legs, and I never will.
I used to. Because it was like, oh, you're supposed to shave your legs?
I've never shaved my legs.
I never shaved my legs, and my legs have very, very fine hair. And plus the commercials, like the Nair commercial, always had white legs. So I never took the camera point. Nair had white legs.
I didn't use Nair. That stuff, I'm like, oh, that's chemicals. I'm not putting that in my skin. You better give me a razor. But, you know, I learned how to do that. But my mother never talked about shaving.
Yeah, see?
Never.
I don't think they shave it. I ain't never seen my mama shave her legs.
Oh no, my mother should have told my aunt who had the full mustache, like, that ain't cool. You need to figure that out. You need to figure that part out. I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there.
You all remember when y'all were younger and there used to be this red thing hanging from the bathroom in the.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew what that was. Nobody explained that.
I didn't know what they did with it, but I saw it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it just
and the waffle of vinegar in the air.
Wash.
But you know, those are things that right in our face, but we didn't ask about what it was. Oh, glory.
Squash. Okay, we're done for tonight.
I'm passing the mic back to you.
This is a rich conversation. Michelle, thank you once again. You are always, when I say, let's talk about this, y'all like, yeah, let's go with it.
Let's go for it.
And we have some greatest conversations.
I love it.
I love it too. I love the fact, you know, I had to look up. So if anybody's wondering, you know, what can I take just in case things ain't, you know, as moist as they used to be, this thing called Good Clean Love. Look it up. Good Clean Love.
Good clean love.
That's for the married folks.
That's for the married folks. That's for the married folks.
Your mama didn't tell you to have
my mama didn't tell me.
Because my mama wasn't doing it. So.
Geraldine was.
My mama wasn't doing it, child. She is the virgin reincarnated. So anyway, amen. Thank you so much.
Yes, this has been so much fun. I have enjoyed this conversation.
Elsa, we love you. Thank you so much for watching. This has been your next edition of My Sister, Your Sister Live podcast. We love y'all. Thank you for joining us on WVTC.
Yes.
You've been listening to Soulful Inspiration. We're so glad you hung out with us today. We're here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on WVTC Detroit. If you'd like to partner with us or sponsor a show with your business, send us an email at tntsoulllc@gmail.com, or you can call us at 313-570-8280. I'm your girl, Nikki Jones.
The views and opinions expressed on the previous broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
Congratulations to WVTC Gospel Radio, as they are again the recipients of the 2023 Stellar Award for Best Internet Radio Station of the Year. Many thanks to our viewers. Keep watching as we are winning victories through Christ. Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.